Hey everyone, come on in. I'm doing a live on relationships and I cannot wait to go into this topic with you. Many of you sent in questions that I have right here. Hey everyone, come on in. We're going to talk about relationships. So if you have any questions, write them in here. I would love to explore them with you. Come on in. Let's talk about relationships. What is a healthy relationship? What could it look like? What is a toxic relationship? When to leave, when to stay, how to make it better. So let's talk about your questions. We are going to be drawing from my book, A Radical Awakening. So come on in, guys. It's the relationship Instagram live that we are going to delve into. So for the next few book clubs, I'm going to be going into different topics and taking your questions. So I think I only have 6 or 7 left. So come on in, everyone. Loving your book. How do you deal with a partner who doesn't work? Wow. Okay. Let's cover that. How to make communication better. Hi everyone, hi from Uruguay, from Kansas City, from India. Dragon Official, can't stop reading your book. So let's talk about relationships. So as a backdrop to this topic, I want us to really understand that, and I'm going to talk in terms of just, mostly straight relationships, male and female, mostly traditional, stereotypical. So please, I know I'm talking just cisgendered and just about a dyad, okay? But relationships can be bi, can be straight, can be all sorts of different polyamorous, different configurations. But just for the most part, you're male and a female. I'm going very traditional, but you can extrapolate to your own relationship. Please, I'm not excluding anyone. Just for the sake of colloquial ease, I'm keeping it traditional. So when two people come together in a relationship, we have to understand what that really means, okay? When two people are coming together in an intimate relationship, you must understand that they are bringing with them a whole host of baggage. They are like coming with bags and bags on their shoulders that the other doesn't see, right? You think you're just falling in love with Samantha or with Jacob or, no, you're not. You are not. You are not falling in love with them at all. You, first and foremost, are falling in love with their persona, with who they are presenting to you, which is their outermost shell, their outermost veneer. You don't even know who it is they are because you don't know who you are. So understand that right from the start. You are first initially attracted to people's persona and how it matches your persona. So it's your egoic self to their egoic self. Does that match? And that's why in the beginning of a relationship, it's typically form-based. It's typically based on attraction, right? Do I find you attractive? And it's chemical. No problem. That's natural. It's our human instinct to want that chemistry. But the first part of a relationship is form-based, where it's based on what the presentation is, based on what the outside look is. So then you think, oh, I really like Samantha, and Samantha says, I really like Jacob, and you think you're going to now start a relationship. But here's what you don't understand, perhaps, is that you're not even aware of who the person is. So this notion of falling in love in itself is a flawed notion. Falling, like we shouldn't be falling, right? We're already starting unbalanced, right? So this idea that there is there's a surrender implies that you're entering or you're falling into this sort of other person. So this other person becomes the quote unquote apple of your eye. All these are false and flawed ideals. The other person cannot be the apple of your eye, right? The other person cannot complete you. The other person isn't your salvation. because you don't even know who the other person is for a long, long time. And this idea of falling in love is flawed. You shouldn't be falling at all. If anything, you should be coming more into center. You should be coming more into your power. The falling feeling is the chemical reactivity, but you have to understand that it is a chemical reactivity, right? So now you are, quote unquote, in chemical reactivity, right? It doesn't sound as sexy as falling in love. Oh, I am in a chemical phase of my horniness with you. It is just chemical horny. I am in the phase called chemical horniness. I mean, that's really what it is, yes? Okay. For a long time, it's chemical horniness. Then it's, oh, I'm in love with the fake persona of the other person, and they are in love with my fake persona. But because we're pretending we're real when we're really fake, we're pretending they're really real when they're fake. But the next phase should be called, oh, now we are in the hello ego phase. I'm meeting their ego, and we're kind of stuck here for a long time. Yes, that's the phase. So this bullshit that you know this other person, this is your soulmate, doesn't happen for a long time, and anyway cannot happen unless each person does the inner work to be authentic, right? So, okay. So when you are in the chemical attraction phase, you have butterflies in your stomach, you're sweating, and you're like, and you're thinking that is love. Okay? That is not love. That is called chemical attraction. It'll happen many, many times in your life if you wanted to. It's very easy to happen. We human beings are sexual creatures. We're very, very sexual beings. So the institution of marriage has acted like we're not sexual beings. So the institution of marriage and the institution of monogamy has put a clamp on our inherent sexuality and told us we're not really sexual beings and we can only like and be attracted to one person. Chemical horniness only with one person, right? So the two things we make a mistake in the beginning is mistake chemical horniness for love. And the second thing is that chemical horniness can only happen with us, okay? So now we are on the way in a relationship. We're chomping down the bit. We're walking down the path toward commitment. Yes, women are like, commitment, right? The guy is like, I just said I liked her. And the woman, especially if she's over 25, next thing the guy knows, he has a ring on his finger. Or he's being called a bad guy because he's not committing, right? So women are like only looking at their wedding dresses, right? From when they were 5 years old. So the women are like, come on, let's start a family. You be daddy, I'll be mommy, okay? And let's play house. I've always dreamt of a white dress. And I've always dreamt of living by the ocean. And my kitchen will be this way. So the women, we don't realize that we want to play house so badly. You know, all of us played house, right? When we were young, and we played teacher and house. And we're so cute. And so we're just waiting for the first bait, right? The first guy who likes us after 25, that's it. Now, guys, we need to understand, are on some other path, okay? Women, guys are slower to evolve, right? I mean, look at a teenage boy and your teenage girl. The teenage girl is already ready to like take charge of life. And the teenage boy is just like, dealing with his pimples and his penis. So very different developmental tracks, right? And so here the poor boy, and I'm not having pity for no reason. Really, they don't know. They're like, okay, I'll get married, right? So then the guy commits to you. But what are they committing to? What are we committing to? What? Till death do us part. Life forever. And the guy, he just wants to drink with his buddies at the wedding party and look at all the girls. He's like, yeah, sure. Till death do us part. I'll be monogamous, right? He's so cute, right? He doesn't know what he's talking. He doesn't know. He's like 26. He's like, oh, it's nice to have a woman in my bed every night. I'm so cool. Okay, but at the bachelor party, he realizes, oh, am I doing the right thing? Like, what am I doing? Oops. Oh, shit. Okay, so if everything goes well, he will show up at the wedding, although he has a niggling sense that maybe I'm too young for this. Maybe I'm not ready for this. Like, I'm not ready. But the woman, we women are on a mission. Have you seen us? Like, we're like, put the ring on the finger, put the ring on him, right? And he's like gagging. And he's like, oh, I love wearing rings. And then on to the next goal. Let's have children. Okay? So everything is working for the woman. The woman is like on a mission. She's going straight to Mars. She's like on her rocket ship. But what she may not realize is that she doesn't even know who this guy is. And the guy certainly doesn't know who she is. Because the guy certainly doesn't know who he is. That we know for sure, yeah? So, nobody knows who anybody is, right? And now you've come home, opened the gifts weren't that great. You're like, does no one see the registry? Like, did no one read what I put on the freaking registry? Like, what are these statues? What are these statues of horses and cats? I don't like horses, I don't like cats, but these are the gifts you got. So you're like, oh, now what? Right? So now you confront the other person and their mother, and you're like, I don't even know who this person is. Because you really actually only thought as far as the wedding. Okay? After the wedding, no one thinks. Because have you seen Cinderella? Ends, the book ends. Like the fairy tale ends. Right? So no one has talked about then what? Okay? Then you realize, oh, this person is like my brother. Slobby, untidy, dirty, clumsy. Where is the prince? And don't worry, the prince too, when the hair weave comes out, the eyelashes come out, the fake bustier comes out, the prince is like, where's my princess? Okay, so now, and then we're like, don't worry, the woman has a solution. The woman is like, don't worry, we shall now have children. Somebody wrote. So what do we do after 15 years, you're realizing? It took you 15 years. Yes, the ego is so sneaky, you can keep faking it for 15, 20 years. But eventually, it's going to crash. So then we have children. Okay, the women are like, don't worry. I will keep us distracted. I will keep us busy. Because I want to join the moms club. You know, I see all the moms dropping the kids off at school and I want to be part of that club. So we will have children. So the guy again says, okay. The guy is a kid. The guy is like 8, 9 years old inside. What is he saying yes to again? Again, he's saying yes. And then he's like, I didn't know. What were you thinking, right? You know how many times in my couple session I go, what were you thinking? They're like, I wasn't thinking. I go, honest. I like you. You're honest. You were not thinking. Okay, now you have children. Here's where it becomes real. That's why I love children. I love children. Because children have a way of blowing it up. If anyone out there thinks, if they're in a marriage right now without children and they think children will save the marriage, no. Children will take the best marriage and rip it apart, okay? So if there are chinks in your armor now, don't have children. Because children are like an explosion, okay? It's Hiroshima, Nagasaki, okay? It's like insane, okay? Chernobyl. It's not a good situation, okay? Stop, like close the vagina. Okay, so then we have children, and the reason I love children is because children make us realize, oh, we've been living in our ego, that we thought we could play house and replicate our dysfunctional families, and maybe we would heal our dysfunctional families, but now we realize we can't. So most relationships follow this kind of trajectory, which is like no one knows what they're doing. Okay, now I say this with humor, not with shame, because it's a fact. Okay, most of us marry people who end up becoming our siblings, you know, like your brother or your sister, and you're like, who are you? You know, why are you annoying me? And most relationships just become annoying because they are replications of your initial family system. Okay? We don't realize that. We think it's true love. Now, the reason why it cannot be true love, it's just purely mathematical. It cannot be true love because you don't love yourself. It's just so simple. I'm 49. I'm just starting. I got married I was with the same guy from 21. What was I thinking, right? I love somebody else when I can't even love myself. But all of us are doing this. Now, it's okay to do it, but it's not okay to not realize you're doing it, right? To really pretend like, no, I love the other person. No, you don't. You're following society's ways, you're checking the boxes, and you want approval. And that's why you take the beautiful emotion of quote unquote love or sexual horniness and you put a prescription on it called marriage. You bring in the legal institution and you sign contracts. Okay, how is that love? I don't understand. And I did it too, so no shame. We all do it. So we bring in the legal institution and we sign contracts. I love you, but I own you, okay? And you own me. And I want to be possessed, and now I control you. I control everything about you, your eyeballs, your eyes, and your imagination, and all your body parts. I own you. See, it's written here in the contract. You see? Let's sign the contract, okay? And we do it because we're young and dumb, okay? So we bring in the legal institution, and then we have the religious institution, which now makes it moral. So if we break the contract, we're not like, oops, it's not a mistake. You are now not a good person, right? Because we bought in God. Now God is in the marriage. So God is like, bad, bad, bad. So when we bring in God and the judge, oh my goodness, that dries up the vagina right there. So before you know it, you're not having sex. Now what? Now you're not having sex. The children are in your bed. The woman is exhausted. Trust me, she's exhausted. What is one to do, right? So you have to figure it out. You have to go for counseling. You have to go for coaching. You have to do the inner work because you realize that you didn't know what you were doing. You were like, I didn't know what I was doing. I had a couple of children. I thought it would be easy. My mom said it was easy. I shouldn't have believed my mother. What was I thinking? No problem, right? There is still hope. Don't worry. There is hope when both in the couple can kind of figure it out, right? The other day I did a session with a couple and I had to send the man out of the room so I could kind of correct the wife. And when the husband left, I went, what are you thinking? What were you thinking? And I said to her, I said, your expectations of your partner, like he's here and your expectations are here. You're like way off. And her face fell. And I said, if you don't begin to accept him for who he is and ruin and shred your expectations, you will not survive this marriage. So we enter these relationships because we have expectations based on false premises, based on the ego or based on culture. We enter relationships based on false expectations and fantasies and ideas around what love is. And we don't even know who we are. And because of that, we have sexual issues. And because of that, we have parenting issues. It's natural. Have compassion if you're experiencing this. It's impossible for two people who are different sexes, who don't know each other, who don't know themselves, to now parent children. Right? So everything comes into the bedroom. How your parents treated you, your relationship with your body, your relationship with sex, your relationship with your childhood, your relationship with your children. Understand that the marriage now is no longer between fake self and fake self. It's got all the baggage in the bedroom. So the bedroom becomes the acting out place for all the emotional drama, right? And because culture has given us so many rules, we become confused about how to go about this thing called marriage and relationships. So if you are in a place right now where you're confused, the place to begin is this. You take a hiatus, you take a moratorium, and you tell your partner, I just need to figure this out. Healthy relationships can withstand a break. And in that break, each one of you needs to do the work on yourselves if you wish to. And if you can, then you begin to unravel all your childhood conditioning that brought you to this place. And let me tell you guys, when you do, the partner you chose, you unconsciously chose, let me tell you, is the perfect one to work on your baggage. The reason you chose your partner is because it's an exact replication of the bullshit from your childhood. I'm telling you, at least marriage number 1. I don't know about 2 and 3. But relationship, the first intense relationship you have will be a petri dish to repeat your childhood patterns. It is the perfect place for you to see how you were living in fake self. Now, that doesn't mean it's a disastrous thing, because the couple can have enough chemistry or enough commitment to grow through. But for the most part, you will see that if you don't look in the mirror of the relationship and realize that this is an exact replica of your childhood pattern, you won't be able to go forward. So if you have a partner that is willing to look at his or her issues and step into the inner work, then you can take a time out and begin to explore your deeper self, because you're bringing dynamics to the relationship that are inevitable, that are impenetrable from childhood. So what happens when one person awakens? Yeah, what if it's only me who's doing the work? So here's what happens. Typically, it's one person wakes up. If one even wakes up. Typically, no one wakes up in a couple. No one. You just go on into you're doing the business of the marriage, right? Marriage is a business. It's the busyness of the day-to-day life. It's the business of the busyness, right? Did you do that? Did you do that? And you think you're sharing intimacy, but you're just sharing tasks. Many relationships get watered down to just basic survival because you're exhausted. You're dealing with children. You're dealing with bills. That's understandable. No shade on you. But when one wakes up, typically only one does, right? So it's scary when that one person wakes up and the other person doesn't, because now the one who wakes up is outgrowing the container of the relationship. So what I would encourage people who are in that situation to understand that nothing should stop your awakening. You cannot regress or retard your own growth because of a relationship, whether with your children, whether with your friend, whether with your parent or your lover. Your marriage is not more important than your wake up. But it's scary because you've been enmeshed, you've been codependent, you're right. You've been in this contract that kind of says we got to grow together. Understand, the marital contract says till death do us part. It kind of implies that we're going to grow together. Right there, that's a mythology. How can you grow together? No two people can grow together. Now you can grow in the same direction and the same pace, but each one is growing idiosyncratically. You're blessed if you're both growing in the same direction and the same pace. So the marital contract is a block to our awareness that we cannot grow together. So we shouldn't be afraid when that happens. Many people panic like, oh my goodness, I'm growing apart. Of course you're growing apart. Everyone is growing apart. That's life. Do trees get upset with the neighboring tree? Everybody this direction. No, trees are always growing in vivacious ways, in vibrant ways. So it is with humans. We're not supposed to grow together, guys. Now, what can we aspire to? That both freaking grow. But together at the same pace, in the same direction, is unrealistic. It's a fantasy. It's a Cinderella mythology. It doesn't exist, right? A realistic understanding of relationships allows you to see that no, we cannot grow together. And the best we can do is grow. Now, when a couple is committed to growth, right, then they both immediately begin to understand that they were in love with an illusion. They were filled with fantasy. They had enormous expectations of each other and of themselves. And these cannot come true. So somebody asks, how will we have kids if we don't get married? Very easily. You don't need to get married. If you have a true connection, you don't need to get married. So what you're saying is that, oh, I don't believe in the connection. So if you don't believe in the connection, don't have children. We should be able to have children without the legal contract. That speaks to the binding nature of our connection. The fact that we need marriage means that we don't feel strength in the connection, right? People think that marriage is the ultimate pedestal of a long-term commitment. I say it's the anti-pedestal, right? It shows that you're actually not committed. A true connected relationship doesn't need a marriage. You don't need it. Culture has told us that we need it. That's fine. You can do it, but that's not the prerequisite. It doesn't mean anything, right? So now when two people in the relationship begin to do the work, they begin to realize that each one came with brokenness. Each one came with emptiness. Each one came looking to be filled within the container of the relationship. And now they can begin to truly understand each other. So true love is freedom. True love is unequivocal acceptance. True love is clarity, negotiation, communication, right? How many couples really communicate about what they like in bed, about how their needs should be met? They don't do it because they themselves are not aware of how to meet their own needs. So you have to ask yourself, do I want to be authentic? Do I want to be honest? Or do I want to be married, right? Now, you can elevate your marriage into authenticity, but don't compromise your authenticity because you want to stay married. So relationships are at their best when both people understand that it is not based on longevity, but it is based on connection. It is based on growth. It is based on transparency. And that doesn't mean we have to think alike, feel alike, grow alike. It doesn't mean that. But it does mean that we gotta grow. So the ideal relationship, which you want to ideally have, is with a partner that values inner growth. That is and should be the only key ingredient. An awakened mind is the answer to all our issues. So you're probably in a relationship with a partner who doesn't communicate, or a partner who doesn't want to do the inner work. And that becomes really frustrating. When we women don't feel we can communicate, when we women don't feel we are understood, no sex. Sorry. I tell all men, do you want to have sex at night? Why are you talking over your wife? Why aren't you zipping it and nodding your head and trying to understand? Do you want sex or do you not want sex? But the men don't understand because they keep talking. Rubbish, right? So I go, okay, that's it. I can't help you anymore. I was trying, but you're actually now not going to have sex for a week. Do you understand what you just did? You said the wrong thing. So men don't understand because men, in general, not the men on this chat, in general, are trained and conditioned to not be connected, right? Men are trained and conditioned to be very cerebral, to be protectors and providers and to go and hunt. So they have to go into their head just to survive. But we women, we are breastfeeders, we are givers, we are nurturers. So we go inward and we connect. So part of our biology is our advantage, but don't blame the guy. It's not part of his biology and not part of his conditioning. So here you are, you married to this guy perhaps who is a poor communicator and you're like banging your head against the wall. Well, don't blame him because he just didn't learn, right? He didn't understand what it means to be a communicator. So a lot of our relationships fall apart because of our unrealistic expectations. Like, what were we thinking? So the guy is like, before we were committed, she was having sex all the time. Now she's not having sex at all. Yeah, because you're not communicating. You stop talking. You stop taking her flowers. You stop paying attention. You go there and you sit on the couch and you watch a game. No. And he's like, no, I tried to give her flowers, but she doesn't want to have sex. Yeah, guess what? It takes a lot to get a woman excited. You didn't realize that. She was horny for you and now she's not. Now she's seeing you as the 8-year-old you are. Everything is dry. You have to work harder. So men don't understand who women are. And women are like, he doesn't communicate, right? He doesn't communicate. He doesn't know how to talk. He's just like his mom. Oh my goodness, right? Because once the facade of the horniness fades, you're like, who am I with? Right? The guy is thinking he's going to get like, oh, great sex. And the woman is like, oh, I'm marrying my best friend. He's my best friend. What? Okay. So anyway, I'm just kidding about men and women, but it's a problem. So we have to really be aware. We have to really be aware of what we're entering, guys. Okay? We really don't have realistic fantasies. We really expect a lot, especially we women. I mean, really. What are we expecting? Like, do you understand who the typical male is? Like, not only in his wiring, but in his conditioning. The typical male, it's not his fault. I'm talking lovelily to men. I mean, I know I'm sounding like I'm denigrating them. I'm understanding them. And a really authentic man will say, yeah, I don't want to talk. You know, there's a meme of a man clipping grass with a clipper. And it says, I told my wife I would talk to her after mowing the lawn. She wanted to talk to me, so I told her after I mow the lawn. And he's mowing the lawn with a clipper, you know, because he doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to talk, you know. Every male partner I've been with, when I say we need to talk, he's like, oh, really? Like, really now, this week, this year? Why? We just talked last year. Why do we have to talk again? Like, no. But we women, we're like, that's what turns us on. But then we need to maybe go to our girlfriends, right? Maybe we shouldn't be thinking. And you're like, but he used to talk to me when we were dating. I'm like, yeah, because he had a goal. He was hunting. He wanted to get the gazelle in the cage. And you're like horrified. When I say that to women, they're like, what? It was just for that? I said, well, has he stopped talking to you since he got you? They're like, yeah. I'm like, hunt is over. Sorry, guys. I mean, I think guys will agree with me, you know. Guys are not in this to talk. Guys are not in this to like connect. This is a female need, not a guy need, right? Why do they have the man cave and the man dungeon? And why do men go away on boys' trips? And they should. Fishing, according to them. But again, see, it's fishing, hunting, a strip club. This is where they are. A game, you know. This is their level. We women want deep connection, right? No, we should go to guys for the horniness factor, and then say bye-bye, and then go to the women to talk, to connect, to have deep, deep connection, right? Anyway, I'm just saying what it is. So we have unrealistic fantasies about relationships, and because of these unrealistic fantasies, you know, males and females who haven't evolved, who haven't discovered who it is they are, trying to be in an evolved relationship. I mean, like, hello, what are we thinking? But what it is that we're conditioned, you see? We're conditioned to find our Prince Charming. I mean, I'm just like speechless, right? My 18-year-old will tell me, why are guys so dumb? And again, I'm not putting guys down. They are going to evolve later, always later. So wherever you are, they're later. But it's not even that. That's not who they are. That's not who they are. So my daughter will be like, I want a committed relationship. I'm like, with an 18-year-old boy, like, what are you thinking? Please, like, go with a 28-year-old guy. 48-year-old guy. No. So anyway, we have to really understand the male and female psyche and how our conditioning is setting us up for unrealistic expectations and therefore failure and therefore suffering, right? It is not the male's fault and it is not the female's fault. It is our conditioning's fault. We enter relationships, you know you do, to get your needs met. There is no such thing, okay? They can try to meet your needs, but if your needs are a bottomless pit or a bucket with holes, how can they meet your needs? So at the end of the day, the relationship becomes an echo of how you need to meet your own needs, right? That is the key. That's why I said you cannot grow together and you cannot grow at the same pace, but you got to grow. So relationships where there is no growth will ultimately stagnate, will ultimately end up as some sort of quibbling back and forth brother-sister relationship because it'll fall back to the old pattern. Okay, so I'm going to take some questions. I have your questions on this phone. Okay, navigating the awakening process with your partner. Should we take a break while doing the work? Yes, advisable, but it doesn't have to be a physical break. You can just take an emotional break. You can both make a commitment to doing the work with private therapists or coaches on the weekend, right? What awakening means is that you make the time and you dedicate the effort to look at your patterns. Because if you don't, the patterns will overtake, override, and obscure. Our childhood patterns are deadly. What is this? Women want money first and foremost. They're shopping for lifestyle like I am looking for sex. Very honest. That's part of it. That could be part of it, right? No joke. I have so many women coming to me going, I'm looking for a wealthy guy. But then they're like, oh, I want love. I'm like, okay, you want love or you want wealth? It's not necessarily either or, but it's kind of, what do you put first, right? So what are we putting first, guys? Right? We're not honest with ourselves. Oh, I want love, but then he has to be this, he has to be that, he has to be this, he has to be that. So, so then be honest about your list, right? The other day I was with a friend for dinner who's single, and I was like, show me your list, okay? Because he's like, I have a list. The list, I swear to you, had categories. Number 1, set of categories, and then 10 more. And in each category, there were like 20 things. And I looked at him, I said, you must think you're a superstar because you think you're going to get all this? Like, who do you think you are? Do you live on the moon? Like, are you special? And his face fell and he was like, why do you think this is unrealistic? I said, it is compared to you. And he threw the napkin at me. So here's another thing we do, guys. We have unrealistic expectations and we are not that. In order to even touch upon your expectations, guys, you got to be that. You understand? You got to be that. Whatever you want in the other, you got to be it. You can't just want it. No. Oh, I made my list. That is a whole bunch of bullshit. Okay? Your list is just showing that you're grandiose. I want money, I want cute, I want nice, I want compassion, I want evolved, I want communicator, I want educated, and his mother should be amazing, and is this. What? No. Don't make a list for who you want. Make a list for what you're not and how you need to evolve and how you need to go on a quest and a journey. You know what arrogance people have? All of us, me included. I want this. No. Are you that? And I look at some people and I go, you're not that. Just by how women say they want wealthy men sometimes. Oh, I need my man to be successful. And I'm like, when is the last time you had a job? Are you successful? But women think that they're entitled to successful men. You see what I mean? And then men, they're like, oh, I want a hot wife. And I'm like, have you seen your paunch? Like, where's your hotness? I don't see it. Now, part of it is biological, yes? We're wired to want the protector and they're wired to want the hot chick. But hello, have you seen yourself? You have to become that. So everyone wants the fancy thing and wants amazing communication, but on their own are none of those things, So how are you going to do that? Yes, I said, good luck attracting your perfect woman. Good luck indeed. Anyway, so when you do the work, it's a good idea to take a break because you need to do the work. And to do the work, you have to take a time out. Okay, next question. Importance of sex in a relationship. Is it really needed? What is the role of sex in life itself, aside from reproduction? What is the point of sex? So, is sex needed in a relationship? We're talking about an intimate relationship, I imagine, and not with a friend. So, if you are in a relationship called an intimate relationship, which is not your brother-sister relationship or not a relationship with your dog, then I would imagine sex is the only defining factor, right? What makes a relationship intimate? My housekeeper comes every day. I practically live with my housekeeper, but it's not an intimate relationship, right? But I could be in an intimate relationship with someone else. What is the defining factor? Is really sex, right? Isn't it? Like that is really the linchpin. So is it needed? No, but then it's not an intimate relationship. But it's okay. It's not a bad marriage. Most marriages are not intimate. That doesn't make it a bad marriage. Just know that you are not in an intimate relationship, right? The other day I was with my friend who's in a marriage that doesn't have sex. And she's like, she keeps calling it a marriage. I said, can you say marriage but no sex? It's not a marriage. Technically, you're in a marriage because there's a sexual component, right? If it isn't, then say marriage without sex. No problem. Great marriage. Most marriages are without sex, at least in my country. Like everyone is sleeping separately, different lives, because it's a social contract. So in a healthy sexual relationship, sex is very important. Yes. And sex in the human is both for reproduction and for pleasure, right? We humans enact sex for pleasure. We have erogenous zones that are highly pleasurable. People have pleasure out of their toes, right? Foot fetishes. Our body is highly pleasurable. So sex is beautiful. Sex is pleasurable. Sex is enjoyable. But because culture has put such taboos around sex, we don't know how to handle it. And religion, right? In Orthodox religious groups, sex is only to enact God's will for procreation. So one in, one out, bang, 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 thank you, ma'am, bye-bye, right? The human body is wired for desire and for sex as being pleasurable. This is what makes us unique, very unique. There are not many primates that have face-to-face sex like we do. Not many primates do what we do. It's beautiful. It has high potential. There's nothing blasphemous or shameful about it. So why do we see totally unmatched couples when one is wealthy and the other is gorgeous? They're not equals. Well, that kind of couple is a very transactional couple. And it's very prototypical. It's based on biology, right? Women want providers, men want sex. So they want the sexual object and women want the money, the resources. It's all over the animal kingdom. Nothing scandalous about it. It is the way of biology. So don't look at that couple as, oh, look at that. It's very natural. It's very typical. However, that couple shouldn't act like it's not. That couple shouldn't act, this is high love. No, it's transactional. And most relationships are transactional. Okay? Most relationships are not high love. We'll talk about high love maybe tomorrow again. How to be empowered in a relationship when you are an empath. So an empath needs to understand that they can be extremely harmful to themselves because empaths typically don't have good boundaries, because empaths are trained to be, they are empathic by nature, but they are also people pleasers. And because they're people pleasers, they have poor boundaries. So empaths need to realize that their part of their development is to grow boundaries, is to grow the masculine spirit in them and to employ the masculine energy to have boundaries. Okay, next question. I'm single and happy. Is this possible? How to explain it to others? If you're single and happy, own it, claim it. You don't have to get married. You don't have to be a parent. Marriage is not for everybody. Parenthood is not for everybody. Please, it is so not for everybody. And owning that it's not for you is an empowered choice you can make. And don't succumb to culture's ways, because culture says you need to be married. Culture says you need to have children. It's an institution that says you need to. Your instinct about who you are is more important than what culture says. So for all of you out there who are not following culture's ways, if you're gay, if you're bi, if you're polyamorous, don't fall into the trap of feeling you need to be in this little narrow box that culture calls a good relationship. You have the right and the freedom to enact your own life. And if you can be single and happy, all of us want to be you, okay? All of us, okay? All of us who did the marriage thing, we go, oh my goodness, why didn't anyone tell me what this was about? Okay, why is a toxic relationship so seductive? The only reason why any toxic relationship sticks and is seductive is because it is a recreation of your past, because it is a replay of your old patterns. That's why it sticks, and that's dangerous, right? If you're in a dangerous dysfunctional relationship and you're feeling the magnetic attraction to dysfunction, that means you are in a pattern. And the best relationships are the non-toxic ones, the non-dysfunctional ones, where it's kind of boring. Not sexually boring, just no drama, right? Where there's peace, where there's harmony, where there's flow, where there's synergy, where there's compassion and an understanding of each other. Those are the most powerful whole relationships. So if you are in a dysfunctional relationship and finding yourself in this dramatic pattern and feeling like the endorphins are at a high, it's because this is how your childhood was. You were on highs and lows, and this became your addiction. That became your safe zone. You're like, that's what a relationship is. Fight and make up and all this turbulence, but that is not healthy, and you need to get help right away. So this is another question. How do you stay in a relationship when you are trying to evolve and awaken and there's so much changing between us or just in me? So I get this question all the time. It's hard because our current relationship models are based on longevity, but along the way, one or the other changes. So how do you manage and negotiate, right? That's why the relationship model needs to change from a longevity-based model to a growth-based model. We have to make a paradigm shift so that when we're entering the marriage and we're taking our vows, we do not take a vow for sickness and in health till death do us part. We take the vow for sickness and in health for this moment forward, for this moment now, right? We become aware that it's moment to moment based. We give ourselves the freedom and the understanding and the release and the permission and the freedom to evolve. The current paradigm of the marriage doesn't allow for evolution. It doesn't allow for changing the mind or changing our sexuality or our interests. It doesn't allow for it, and therefore it is a control-based model based on scarcity and fear. It's really hard for people to understand this, but it is. And you only realize this when you begin to evolve. As long as two people are staying the same, no one really feels it. But catch one evolving. First and foremost, many of the men who quote-unquote cheat have already realized that they have no room to be honest and transparent. Therefore, they start cheating because there's no room for them to be in an honest dynamic. So they're already cheating. It's just a matter of getting caught. And then when they get caught, everything blows up as if they're the worst people in the world, but they're not. They're caught in a dynamic which was based on ownership and possession and control, which they did not bargain for. They didn't understand what they were signing up for. So if we understand that the marriage model needs to evolve to a growth-based model, then when you evolve and the other person doesn't, then you allow for that. You are compassionate. You're not angry with them and they're not angry with you. And each of you allow the other to release. So the best relationships are those that are compassionate, that understand that there is no ownership, there is no possession, there is no control. Only understanding, only evolution, only growth. These are the best relationships. But we can only enter those relationships when you enter that with yourself. So I'm going to do part 2 of relationships sometime this week. Tomorrow I'm doing an IG Live with a wonderful woman. She's the author of this book, and we're going to talk about her journey. And I'm going to keep coming here and taking your questions and having great discussions. I cannot wait to see you next time, probably tomorrow, and take more questions and help you delve deeper into the concepts of a radical awakening. Get the book. Bye, guys. Thank you for joining me.